Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. How y'all guys doing, man? Um, what I want to talk about today is let a father be a father to his child, whether it's his daughter or whether it's his son. Okay. Um, it's a lot of these ladies out here that was born and they didn't raise up with their fathers. Okay, and I'm not saying this targeting every woman because every woman is not that way. Okay, they're not like that. But the one thing that I am gonna say is that a lot of these ladies should stop using their kids as pawns. When you get mad at a brother, don't oh yeah, you can get out. Oh yeah, don't worry about him. This is exactly why a lot of these young boys is out here shooting and killing and doing things because a lot of these young boys is out here, they way too emotional. They wasn't, and I'm not gonna say that there's not a woman that can't raise her sons to be a man because there's plenty of those women out there. Okay, but they are a minority. It's a majority full of women that's way emotional, and their sons is gonna end up in a high crime situation because she threw the father out, didn't let the father get a chance to do his job, and sometime, like, because the man, just because he didn't want to be with the woman, oh, now you can't, yeah, don't worry about him. I'm a victim of that situation with my son. Okay, my son, I helped raise my son up until he was 5. After that, she had like various boyfriends, and I'm not trying to say that she's the H word or none of that stuff. I'm not trying to say that, but she was looking for love in all the wrong places. Okay, and my son was bearing a witness to that. So me and my son today don't have a relationship like that, like we should. I don't even know his favorite color, okay, because he was dangled over my head for many years. And he's 15 years old. He just turned 15. And only thing he will call me for is if he need me to give him a few dollars or whatever. And I can't give him money, okay, because I pay child support. And knowing her, she'll go back and tell him some other stuff when that's not even what it is. You know what I'm saying? But what I'm saying right here is that a lot of you ladies out here need to take responsibility for these young boys out here doing the stealing and killing. And the jailhouse is full of these young boys. And I'm going to tell you why. Because they're raised, and like I said earlier, I'm not saying this is not for every woman. Okay, this is not for every woman. Like I said, the women that can raise their sons to be a man, they're strong enough to do that, is a minority. But it's the majority of the women that can't raise their sons to be a man. And these kids is ended up locked up in jail, or they doing something, or they don't even respect women. Okay? And that's with the new school nowadays. It's a lot of the new school girls out here. I'm going to say girls because women don't do that. I'm old school. Okay? Regardless of the simple fact that my mother or my father, whatever argument they got into, my mom never dangled us over my pop's head. Wherever my pops was living at, she took us over there to be with him. You know what I'm saying? Even on days that she didn't have to go to work, she took us over there. We took a cab over to where he was, or the train, or the bus in New York City. You know what I'm saying? But what I'm saying is that it's a lot of these young boys, man. They emotional. They way emotional. They didn't have a man in their life to calm them down. I'm still here in this lifetime is because I have my father in my life to calm me down. My father has passed away a long time ago. Okay? It's been like about 5 or 6 years now since he's been gone. But he always could sit me down and calm me down. And bring logic to whatever the situation that I may have been in. Or like when I got my heart broken first, my father was one of those people who spoke to me about that. When this girl broke my heart when I was younger. And my mother did it too. See, the situation is that mom is going to give you unconditional love. She's going to be there for you no matter what. But everything she can't be there for you for. You know, because mom going to get mad at certain things. And mom going to cuss people out. And mom going to do what she want to do. Okay? And with that right there, with mom doing what she gonna do, that's proof right there that mom, there, like I said, the minority of the women that could do both of those, be emotional but have sense at the same time, they're a minority. But the majority of the ladies out here, they can't do that. That's why these young boys is dying left and right now. A lot of these young boys, they turn to gangs. I was in a gang when I was a kid, but my parents never knew that. I was in a gang. I was in a gang called the Renegades in New York City. You know what I mean? And it wasn't even a gang. It was called a posse back in those days. Okay? And that was peer pressure right there. Yeah, I followed a little bit when I was younger. But when I got old enough to know what my father kept drilling in my head, that turned me into a leader. See, a lot of these young boys out here, they don't have no leaders in their life. They got mom. And like I said, they got the majority mom, okay, that's being emotional, you know, telling them to do certain things. You know, you got some of these ladies, you know, that wasn't born with a father in their life. And I think this is where it comes from. And I'm not going to say this is true for every case. But when you got some of the women out here that didn't have a man in their life to sit them down and calm them down, and you know, dad is gonna show you, look, little baby, my little princess, this is who you be with this type of man. This woman is gonna be with this man, and that man. She gonna get her heart broken. She gonna have all these kids, and I'm not gonna say for everybody. But you got the majority of the ladies that's very emotional. They gonna have kids with a bunch. When you see a woman with 6 kids or 4 kids or 5 kids or whatever, that's not because she loose in the streets. That's because she was looking for love in all the wrong places. You know what I mean? Somebody catered to her heart, okay? And she fell for it because she, you know, a lot of the women that has it that don't. They never seen their father, or they didn't grow up with their father. They're looking for a father figure. And a lot of times it's a bad guy out there that takes that role, and he end up doing her dirty. So when a good man come along that's willing to do that woman good and who's willing to be there, he's looked upon as a sucker. Or, excuse my language, a bitch ass, you know what, the N-word. That's what he's looked upon as, because he's the man that chooses to tell her because he feel he love her. Hey, baby, you know, don't do that. Do this. You know what I mean? You go a long way with this, baby. You know, just because he's trying to give, and you know what happens to that man? If he's not strong, he's gonna end up being weak and beat up on. And then the next woman that come along, whatever that woman did to him, he gonna pass it down on the next woman. And then what's gonna happen is he gonna corrupt that woman, and then that woman gonna think now she could be an innocent woman that ain't never had no boyfriend before, but just because she ran into that fool, now she gonna think that's how a man is, and she ain't gonna appreciate no man because she ran into a fool of a man. And this is the situation. And what I'm trying to say is ladies that have not had a man in their life ever since they were kids, they need to stop dangling the kid. Give your kids a chance. Give your kids a chance. Because you know what? I'm going to tell you something. When you are dead and gone, who's going to pay that price? The kid. The kid, for all the games you play, yeah, all right, now you ain't got to worry about him no more. For all those things, all those games that you played, that kid is going to suffer the most because you feel that, oh, okay, since you want to be like this, now you can't see your son. Or vice versa. You can't see your daughter. And this is why there's a lot. I'm going to tell you something. And this is not something that I'm saying. This is a scientific fact. For all of the broken homes in the middle class neighborhood or even the ghetto type neighborhoods, there's not a man around at all. And like I said, this don't go with everybody because you got some strong women out there that can raise a boy to be a man. Okay, so I'm not going to say that. But I'm going to say one thing. I had both of my parents in my life. Okay, up until the day my father passed away. Okay, and I think that it should be a two-parent home. Let me tell you something. When you try to bring in another man to raise another man's kid, it ain't going to be the same. I don't care what you do, it's not going to be the same. Because first of all, you don't belong to him. So why should he care? He don't care what happened to you. In the long run, he don't care. But guess what? He gonna have a baby with that woman so he can make sure he got a seed by that woman. He don't care what happens to the kid that don't belong to him. And this is a fact as well. Okay? It might be that one guy out there that's a minority. When I say a minority, mean a little handful of dudes that can't have kids or never had kids. You know, that may take a bond to that woman and her kid that she already had. Okay? But the whole fact of the matter is we are dying in America. Because let me tell you something. This country, a lot of us is brainwashed in this country. That's exactly why the kids are ended up. Let me tell you something. These prisons are full of these young boys and young girls, man. Especially these young dudes. Because they ain't got no father in their life. Because whatever, let me tell you something. You got to stop the pattern somewhere. Just because you a woman and didn't grow up with your father around, don't spoil that for your kids. Okay? Let your kids get a chance to live a life that you didn't live. And the world would definitely be a better place if these kids was allowed to live with both their parents or to have both their parents be in their life. Or, you know, like I said, people don't always got to be together just to be part of their, but if somebody don't want to be with you or you don't want to be that person or whatever, don't dangle the kids over their head. You paying, let me tell you something, I was paying child support for my son and I ain't never see him up until not like just recently, like not even just really recently. You know what I'm saying? It's been a while since I seen him, but then when he contact me, it's all because he wants something. It's never, hey dad, you know, I'm just calling to say hi or whatever. You know, I miss you. When can I come and see you or whatever? It's not none of that. And the sad part about it is a lot of the ladies think that men don't hurt. We hurt too. We hurt too. Let me tell you something, man. I cried for many years because I wasn't able to see my son. This girl kept my son away from me for many years. And you know what? I forgive her. I ain't mad. You know, I'm not mad at nothing. You know, I mean, me and her, we never even had a relationship. It was a situation where something happened and the baby came out of it, and the way my father raised me and my mother raised me, I didn't run away from it. You know what I'm saying? So that's how that happened. But my whole message here today is for these ladies. I'm not even going to say young ladies, because you got some young ladies that step up to the plate to be a woman. Okay? They better than some of these young ladies out here that's just coming up now. I'm talking about in their 20s. Some of them is better than the women that's in their 30s and up. Okay? Because they was taught well. But if you a woman, and you in your 30s, your late 30s or early 30s, and you got kids and everything, you don't get mad at the man and say, oh, oh, you can't see your kid now. Oh, don't worry about them. You can't do that. Because like I said, when you dead and gone, that kid got to take the brunt of what he or she didn't learn. Whatever they didn't learn because somebody was in their feelings, you know what I mean? They gonna suffer for that. They're gonna suffer for that. Because what's gonna happen is the kid is gonna experience things in their life, and because his parents was in their feelings, they gonna get demonstrated on by other people or other kids. And it's never healthy, for stuff like that to happen. What I'm trying to say is, ladies, and I mean ladies, and some of us men, stop calling a man out of his name. Stop disrespecting a man. How you expect for a man to be a man if you keep putting a man down all the time when a man try to do something? You keep disrespecting that man. Let me tell you something. That man who you met, who you think is together because he drive a nice car and he got a good job, trust me, he was once like that man that you left, or that left you, or whatever. He was once like that man. But he had to get away to get himself together so he could become a man again. You can't keep beating on a man and expect for a man to be a man. And you can't keep beating on a man and expect for a man to stick with you. And the reason why I'm having this conversation, the reason why I'm saying this is because there's a lot of ladies out there that's guilty of this. Okay? And look, like I said, you got the minority of women that understand everything I'm saying. And then you got the majority who don't care about what I'm saying. That's why men always become the punching bag. And you got some of us dudes that do ladies wrong too. So I'm not going to be impartial when it comes down to that. Because you got a lot of dudes out there that create these ladies to be who they turn into. A lot of these ladies turn into monsters because of certain dudes. But if y'all ladies are strong, okay, you strong enough to carry a baby for 9 months, sometime 10 months. Okay, you strong enough to carry triplets or twins. Okay, you can go shopping while you pregnant. You can clean the house while you pregnant. If you strong enough to do all that, you can be strong enough to withhold and withstand the drama that dude is putting you through, and then you go and take it out on the next man that's not even living that way. Only thing that next man want to do is he want to be good for you and to you. But a lot of y'all ladies is pushing men away, and that's why the young boys is lost, because they don't have a father figure. They don't have a man in their life to sit them down and tell them what's going on. It's nowadays, that's how it is. These ain't the Bill Cosby day. This is not the Bill Cosby show. That show right there was a made-up show. Some of us have fathers like that, and some of us didn't. And this is the problem that we face today in America. That's why we got drug dealers, stealers, and killers out there. Because they don't have that, and I'm going to tell you something. For the strong ladies, that's the minority out there. If you out there doing right by your kids because the man chose to, he chose to go just leave because he wanted to, get his rocks off or whatever, or he seen somebody that looked better and he just was a shallow type of dude, keep being strong and teach your kids the right way. Okay? Even if you wasn't raised with your father, stop the cycle. Stop the cycle and start a new cycle and teach your son that he don't gotta live like that. Teach him to be there for his kids, because that's the problem. A lot of these ladies is not teaching their young boys to be. You got all these mama boys. Okay? And when I say, let me tell you something. I was a mama's boy to a certain extent. But my mother and my father both told me what I needed to do. I moved out my mother's house when I was 16 years old. Okay? And then I came back briefly. Okay? Let me tell you something, man. It's too much emotions flying in the air. And that's why our generation now, and the generation that's coming up after them, they're doomed. They're doomed because of what's going on. There's not a care in the world through none of these people. They living their life and they ain't caring. But when they dead and gone, who gonna suffer? Who gonna suffer? That kid, for a nation that wasn't willing to listen, perished. And that's why the parents is burying their kids now. You supposed to bury your parents, but they burying their kids because there's no type of understanding, especially in the household. The majority of these dudes that's locked up in jail, they come from single parent households. And then listen to some of the mothers. And like I said, the minority of the women know how to work. But then you got the majority that's so emotional. They out here fighting in the street. They out here cursing they sons' girlfriends out. They out here doing things that, they haven't matured with their age. And that's all I'm going to say. Ladies, look at the situation more closer. Just because you didn't grow up with your father, don't let your son grow up without his father. Don't let your daughter grow up without her father. Okay? And let me tell you something. The prisoner be put out of business. Because when you got two parents or a strong woman or even a strong man taking care of their kids and they ain't got nobody else, guess what? It's going to turn out better. But when you got the woman all in her feels, get out now. Don't worry, you ain't gonna see him, you ain't gonna see her. You playing a foolish game, sweetheart. And that's why these young boys are so emotional like that. Because they see what mommy do. This is why. And they don't have nowhere to turn to. They don't have nowhere to go. And some of the ladies argue in front of their kids. Do all that. Let me tell you something, man. As a nation, we are truly doomed. That's exactly why these aliens are starting to come out. Look at the situation that happened in Miami. Look at that situation. Let me tell you something. That's not new. Aliens been coming on this earth. There's nothing new about that. You think God is just going to create animals and human beings and insects? Nah. God created more than that. But we just choose to be naive to not know that. Okay? Extraterrestrial has been around for thousands of years. They've been coming back and forth on this earth for thousands of years. This ain't nothing new. This ain't nothing new. They just don't want to startle us. That's why they haven't been coming out. But trust me, they're around. Trust me. And you don't got to be crazy to say what I'm saying. We're doomed as a nation. We're doomed as human beings. Let me tell you something. The creatures on this earth, which are animals, lions and tigers and bears and cats and dogs, you can trust them more than you can trust a human being because you already know what they're going to do to you. Try going in the lion cage and watch what happened to you. And that's all I got to say.